Hello fellow cinephiles, Film Guru here. Today I'm reviewing Honey Boy. This was written by Shia Labouef and directed by Elmer Hallel and stars Shia Labouef, Noah Jupe and Lucas Hedges. The film really focuses on Otis Lort, an alcoholic actor engaged in a violent fight with the police while under the influence, and is sent to a rehabilitation centre. There he's forced to reconcile with his traumatic past and his childhood. It really looks at how he's trying to come to terms with things, and he starts to remember things of his past that he's never really looked at, and starts to realise that they've shaped him to the person he's being. They've caused him to be angry and violent and to partake in certain substances. And he starts to realise that his father has had a more impact on him than he ever expected. The film is ultimately looked at in a variety of memories and flashbacks and has a dreamlike quality because of that. And it's kind of a fly on the wall look at this particular film. Firstly, I want to say, I think Shia wrote such an interesting script, and I love the fact he's playing his own father, and he plays him in such a great way. Yet again, he is ultimately inhabiting a character rather than playing a character. You really believe he is this man. And you look at him and see how he struggles with who he is as a person, but also struggles with his son and wants to create a relationship, but doesn't really know how and doesn't have the tools to do that. He sort of pushes him around, he talks down to him, he makes him feel inferior. But at the heart of everything, he does love the kid. And all the scenes between Shia LaBeouf and Noah Jupe's characters are the best parts of the film. They're the parts that I felt connected to. They're what was the heart of the movie. I think Lucas Hedges does a solid job as a sort of older version of Otis, which ultimately Shia, all these incarnations of Shia. Lucas Hedges, once again, plays a unique character, but I just didn't feel a connection to him that I usually do when I see him in films and roles he plays. I felt a disconnect with this. It took me a little while to get into this film, to tell you the truth. The fly on the wall aspect for me, which I'm seeing a lot more films like that, I have to have a real connection to begin with, or a connection at all, to really enjoy the film. And like I said, the connection I had was the relationship between Shia LaBeouf's character and Noah Jupe's character. Just their connection was what really drew me into the film and what I felt I was connected to. There's sequences that rush quickly at the start that go through who Lucas Hedges' version of Otis is and the things he's going through. And we keep coming back to that throughout the film, looking at different aspects of that and him trying to come to terms with things. We look at small bits of pieces of the younger Otis, played by Noah Jupe, and we see him involved in shows and the things that he, as Shia, was involved in as he was a kid, and the impact of that, and him trying to make his way in that world. The film flows in an interesting way. There's some really great music. There is ways that there is techniques that they use that are very interesting. Like when the film opens up, there's a scene with Lucas Hedges and he's tied to something and does this stunt where he's pulled back, and then we meet the younger version of Otis. The same thing happens to him, so it's really connecting the younger and the older version of Otis together, and I really like that. Shia ultimately wrote this script based upon his experiences with his own father. There's something about the dynamic between father and son that's really compelling, especially when the father doesn't know how to interact with his son, or doesn't know how to interact in society and treat people the way they should be treated. There's a lot of anger and frustration and sadness within his character. The scenes that really stand out is where young Otis is talking to his father and demands him to be treating him better. And the scene unfolds and the conversation happens, and the escalation of aggressive and abusive behavior that happens in this scene is so traumatic and shocking and surprising. And you feel a real connection to it though, but you're compelled by it. It's just such a interesting scene. There's the scene where Otis's father really sort of loses it and sort of he becomes aggressive. And there's a scene where Otis's father goes to a strip club, and what transpires there is really heartbreaking and sort of shocking as well. There's small moments throughout the film that really are engaging and form a slight connection with the audience and the characters that are portrayed on screen. I think it's simply shot. I think it's interestingly done. Like I said, I didn't feel as connected to begin with, and I had to slowly grow within that. Final thoughts. It's really about a young man coming to terms with his past. It's about him reconnecting with his father and realizing that he does want a relationship with his father, but he doesn't know how to go about it, has never really realised the effect that his father's had on him. I'm going to give Honey Boy 3.5 out of 5. I thought it was solid and interesting. It could have been a little better, but I still enjoyed it, and I think Shia did a great job writing and acting in this film. Anyway, that's all from me today. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, please hit subscribe down the bottom. Follow me on Facebook. Otherwise, until next time, enjoy the movies.